modern bakeries in the morning when you get that waft of that fresh dough. It smells kind of making too. Oh my gosh, I think Grandpa's making pancakes. This was a scene during my childhood on many Saturday mornings. When I would smell that aroma of pancakes coming from the kitchen, it would literally wake me up out of a dead sleep. As I ran around the corner, bursting with excitement to find some flapjacks on the table, I would get a sight of him. There was my grandpa, at the stove, hovered over, spatula in hand, in his tidy whiteys and his white Hanes muscle shirt that he wore to bed on that night. It didn't startle me though. Grandpa, are you making pancakes? And he would say, "Why, yes, Scott. Have a seat. I love taking care of you boys." As I sat down at the table, flapjack in front of me, maple syrup poured all over it, I never really noticed at the time why, when my grandpa would finish cooking and sit down and join us, that he would be eating a half of grapefruit, which at the time I despised grapefruit, and a little bowl of cottage cheese with some pepper on it. But he would just have the biggest smile as he watched us eat our pancakes and be so excited. And I never really thought about it at the time, why he was eating that crap. My grandpa used to love having us kids sneak him a treat. We were having ice cream or a candy bar. He would give a wink and we'd be sneaking him a little bit of ice cream or a piece of our candy bar. At the time, I didn't know that he wasn't supposed to have that stuff. That he suffered from heart disease and diabetes. I lost my grandpa, which I love dearly, too young in my life. And I didn't get enough years to enjoy my time with him. As I grew older, actually about 10 years ago, I remember getting a phone call like it was yesterday. Ring, ring, ring. Hello? Oh, hey, Dad, what's up? Next Tuesday? I don't know. Why? What's going on? Heart surgery? I didn't even know you were sick. 10 years ago, I got that call. And soon after, I was at the hospital with my father. Now, my father was in his early 50s. And I didn't really expect to be hearing that he would be facing heart surgery and that I, the oldest boy in the family, or the oldest son in the family, would have to be thinking about the responsibility of what do I do when he's gone? I have to take care of all the arrangements, everything that my dad has always been the rock there taking care of. That'll fall to me. That was the first time I've ever had to think about something like that. My father went into surgery, and I remember thinking it wasn't a big deal because he didn't act like it was a big deal. And then after he was in recovery, the surgeon came out and said, "Scott, I'd like you and your grandma and your aunt to come back and talk to us." And he proceeded to tell me that my father had arteries that were 100% blocked, and others that were 60% and 80% blocked. And he had to go in and put in these stents that could possibly help him out. But with diet, exercise, and quitting smoking, my father had a chance to live a longer life. I was like, oh boy. I had already went through this 10 years earlier with my grandpa. And now I was facing the same situation with my dad. I decided that it needed to stop now. At that point, not only did I need to be the rock for my dad and support him and encourage him to stop smoking, encourage him to take on a more heart-healthy diet, encourage him to cut back on his drinking and to exercise, for God's sakes. My dad hadn't seen a ball or a treadmill or a walk in years. I had to be there to encourage him to do that. And what I realized by doing that was I needed to do the same thing. It needed to stop now with me. I had always struggled with my weight. I played football in high school and college and was in football playing shape. But after that, I kind of let myself go. So I realized that I didn't need to just make diet and exercise a goal. That I needed to make it a lifestyle change. And from that point on, 10 years ago, I decided that healthy eating and healthy cooking and diet and exercise were going to be a life passion of mine. And since then, over the next couple of years, changing my diet, getting on a real detailed exercise plan, tracking my goals, tracking my progress, I was able to lose 50 pounds. And I've been able to keep it off for the last 8 years. But I decided 3 years ago that that wasn't enough, that just it stopping with me wasn't enough, that I needed to pay it forward, that I had a passion to help others do the same thing so that they and their families wouldn't be in the same situation that I was in. So 4 years ago, I raised my hand and volunteered to be a team captain for the Central Ohio Heart Walk. It was the first time that I had ever volunteered for something like that. I'd never done any fundraising challenges or things with charity involved in charitable work. So I set a goal of raising $500. And in that first year, I was able to raise $1,000 for the American Heart Association. And over the next couple years, over the last 4 years, I've raised over $10,000 just by asking people, just by sharing my story and my experiences. So why am I sharing this with you today? Because you have an opportunity to walk in my shoes, or walk with me in my shoes, in this year's Heart Walk. I have some information here. I'd like you to take one and pass it down. August 25th is this year's Central Ohio Heart Walk. And as I said, I'll be leading the team. And you have a couple ways that you can help me. You can decide to walk with me that morning. The Heart Walk is either a 1 mile or a 3 mile walk through downtown. It's a very family-friendly event. It's just an opportunity for people to get out and be aware of heart health and do something active for a morning, and also raise some dollars for the American Heart Association. If you are interested in making a donation to my team, you'll get one of these super soft and super cool My Heart Belongs to C-Bus t-shirts. These are the official team t-shirts for my team and for the City of Columbus team this year. And with a $30 donation, which is tax deductible, by the way, you will get one of my team t-shirts. And you'll be helping the American Heart Association and joining me in paying it forward. My goal for this year is to raise $5,000, which, coming from 4 years ago when my goal was 500, that's a huge jump. But more importantly, my goal this year is to bring more awareness to heart health. To bring more awareness to the fact that this is the #1 killer in America today, and of men and women. 1 in 4 people will die each day from heart disease. And what's so sad is that this is a disease that most of us have full control over in our lives, by how we eat, by exercising, by not smoking, by curbing those things in our life which bring us much joy usually, but being able to manage those and living a healthier lifestyle, and not just making it a goal for a couple months and then falling off the wagon, but making it a passion of yours, making it a lifestyle change. So I want each of you to truly consider joining me in making this stop right now, not only with me, but with you and your family as well. Thank you. I'm going to take questions and answers. I'll take heartfelt questions. I'll take my story questions. I'll take informational questions about how to lead a more healthy lifestyle. Come on in, Garver. Does anybody have any questions for me? Yes, Kat.
How was your dad's recovery process?
Oh, well, my dad's probably, since his surgery, put on 25 or 30 pounds. Quit smoking. He hardly drinks at all anymore. He was active for a while. I got him one of those EFX machines for Christmas, showed him how to use it, gave him a plan, do it for 10 minutes this day, and then do it for 15 minutes, and keep track, and he did pretty good for a while. And then he injured his shoulder, so he was having problems with the shoulder doing that. He's always had back issues. So he's not doing too well. Now, has he been back in and he goes in for regular checkups. So his stents are doing well, he's on medication to help his situation, but I'm really concerned with his diet, and I make him aware of it with a little encouragement behind there, rather than, Dad, you're looking like this now, you need to do something about that. But he can definitely do better, but he has made some strides. Thank you for asking. Yes, Nick?
What did you do to get started on your weight loss, and how have you kept it off?
That's a good question. For me, I need to have a very detailed plan to be successful at anything that I do. So one of the first things I did was each Sunday, I got up and put together a plan of what I was going to eat for the week. Then I immediately went out to the grocery store and filled my grocery cart full of fresh fruits, vegetables, proteins, lean proteins. Got away from all processed stuff. I haven't eaten processed stuff on a regular basis now. I'll cheat every once in a while, but I haven't eaten processed stuff for years. Just lean meats, fish. I even eat a lot of red meat. I know that some people and the American Heart Association believes that that's not the best thing for you, but I think if you go grass-fed beef, that it takes a lot of those additives and negative things that are involved in beef, if you go with a fresher, more organic grass-fed beef. Also, I went with a really detailed exercise plan. I work out at least 5 days a week. 3 of those days will be with weights of some sort, doing an active weight program, and then the other 2 will be some sort of cardio. I love riding my bike all the time. So I just stuck with that. And like I said, I made it a lifestyle instead of a diet or, oh, I gotta go to the gym. I get to go to the gym. I get to eat healthy foods, fresh fruit, fresh veggies, figure out ways to give them flavor and cook them up the right way. So I just really enjoy that.
I was gonna ask about cardio, because like running can become harder the older you get. Do you feel that biking is sufficient as cardio? And then part two of the question was, do you drink Mick Ultra or have you stopped drinking altogether?
Good questions. I quit running about 5 years ago because my knees just couldn't handle the pounding. You're right, the older you get, I don't know how some guys do it. I see them out there running, and it's just, so I went over to the bike. I'd always enjoyed biking anyway, but I just totally cut out running and totally cut out any kind of cardio exercise or interval training that involved a lot of, movement and pressure on my joints. Biking takes that off of my knees and my hips, and when I get on my bike, I go. I don't stop. Pedal the whole time, try to beat my time. I have a little app that tracks how far I go and how fast I go, and I try to get better each time and just challenge myself. And it's a tremendous workout if you do that instead of just going out and pedaling around town.
Yeah.
The second part of the question, drinking. That's one thing that I have definitely not cut out, and probably I went the other way on the spectrum versus the Michelob Ultra or Miller Lite or all these, 80 calories. I love craft beer. I love IPAs. I love stouts. I love that kind of a beer. The great thing about that is it only takes 1 or 2 or maybe 3 to get you to where you're feeling it, So it's actually reduced the drinking that I do. The calories are a little higher in those kind of beers, but the taste and the satisfaction and the amount of beers that I drink is much lower.
2 questions. The quicker one is, when is the Heart Walk on Saturday? At what time?
Okay, it's at 9 a.m. They meet down at the McPherson Commons. Is anyone familiar with McPherson Commons, where that is? It's on the north bank side of the river, where the old arch is, where the prison used to be. That park right there is now called McPherson Commons, and they do a lot of activities down there for marathons and different things like that. It used to be at the Columbus Commons, but now it's at the McPherson Commons at 9 a.m.
Okay. And you mentioned that you were biking to improve a best time or whatever. Where would you say is the best place to actually try and do that sort of thing?
I work downtown, so there's tons of trails that go out of downtown.
Like
There's-
the Danny Trail?
Yeah, you can go, let's say, a mile down until it ends just south of town, and then the old Tangy Trail goes all the way up north of Worthington. So I usually, for my lunch hour, I'll ride my bike up to the Park of Roses and back downtown in an hour. That's like 15 miles, so that's puffing it. But those trails are awesome. And then there's trails that head out of downtown and go out east, and you can go up to Easton, or you can go south and out towards the east side of town.
So since you were influenced by your father in this whole, exercise lifestyle, has your father ever went with you to do these heart walks? And have you ever encouraged him to try your meal preparations and things of that sort?
No and no. That's a great idea. I think I really need to get him to go with me this year. I think I'll do that. I'll make that a goal. He's always given. He's always been very supportive. But no, I haven't got him to walk. And I haven't got him to follow a good, healthy eating plan either.
Or do you think when you make something, you can invite him like that? I'm making this like once a week.
Yeah,
Ideas like
that's a great idea. I've actually done that with my grandma. My 95-year-old grandma started to make meals for her, take her meals that are healthy. But that's a good idea. I'll need to do that with my dad too. I've got time for one more, or if there aren't any more, I'll be around afterwards. So please join me if you can. Like I said, the t-shirts, if you give $30, you get a t-shirt. If you don't want to give $30, I'll take any of the help that I can get because it's going to a great cause and it'll help me get to my goal. So thank you so much.